Hello and welcome to the special episode of the special Red Stream. Now this will be a short Q&A because, you know, you just met lovely ladies over here. Let me introduce them once again. So we have Jane Perry, voice of Rogue. We have Minji Chang, voice of Songbird, and lovely Alix, voice of Out. So yeah, we've gathered some questions from our lovely community to you ladies, and I hope you're ready for them.
Let's go.
Okay, so first question. When it comes to voicing these characters, was there anything that got you anxious? Since there was a big project with a deep amount of lore and fans. Anything stressful?
Well, exactly that. That's stressful. Well, for me, as non-gamer or being really new, just to incrementally get up to speed with how big of a world this is and how big of a fan base and how wonderfully the game is made. You just don't want to step in and be the weakest link and be part of any reason of why it didn't succeed to its fullest. So I was definitely anxious for that. But then also it was just the dedication of the whole team. Everyone was so on their A game. So that actually helped kind of bring me out of that anxiety because I just had to get in there and do the job and show up. So it helped with that. I'm like, okay, we're here to work. Let's get it done.
Were you anxious knowing that Idris, did you know Idris was in it at that point? No, okay.
They kept it from me.
Did you ever get him in your cans down the line?
Down the line I did.
Yeah.
And they're like,
same with us and Keanu.
because they just referred him as Solomon. I was like, cool, Solomon. And then later they're like, do you want to hear, we have some of Solomon's lines. And I was like, cool, let me hear him. And then I was like, no way, no way, shut up. Like I freaked out, yeah. So that added a layer.
That added a layer of anxiety.
Yeah. What about you?
I wasn't so much anxious like on the project, but I remember I really wanted it when I did the audition. I was like, oh, I really want this one. I really want. So I had that anxiety post-audition where you don't know if you're going to get it because, you know, you very often don't get it as well. If you're very lucky, you get it. And then if, you know, it goes another way, it goes another way. But I definitely had that anxiety. I was just like, I really want this one. So I was really happy when I got it.
That's such a tough anxiety being an actor. Like you can just tell there's something in this that I really want, and you have to be completely just detached.
Or try to be detached, and yeah, that's very difficult. Yeah, for sure. I think actually, I don't know about you, Alix, but I don't think I knew that Keanu was Johnny Silverhand. I think
I found out the day I walked into my first session. Yeah, because they totally broke their NDA with me. They were like, guess who it is?
Right, yes, yeah.
Tell me who it is.
I think that information was sort of held back a little bit longer for me. So when I did find out, I was like, oh, and then and then the I don't know if I call it anxiety, but the expectation sort of ramps up a little bit.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, okay, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Awesome, thank you. So the next question, would you want to be like your characters, or is there a deeper warning coming from them?
Warning coming from them.
Well, I think that, I think there's moments where I think I wouldn't mind being a bit more like Rogue. Like she just goes for it. Like she's a gal who knows what she wants. She's quite fearless, you know, in a way, and super confident in her skills and what she's able to do. Not that I'm not confident, I am, but I really admire her kind of, I'm just gonna fucking take what I want, you know, that kind of attitude that she has, which, I just think is really, I don't know. What am I trying to say here? I don't think I have as much of that as Rogue has. And there definitely would be moments in life where harnessing that would be great. Yeah.
How about you, ladies?
I mean, Rogue's blonde, I'm blonde. Rogue's got green eyes, I've got green eyes. There's a lot going on there. But I am not an artificial intelligent AI being
As far as we know.
As far as we know.
Yeah. You might just be fooling
you are
us.
the Tai Chi master.
I'm the Tai Chi master.
Yeah, I love that. I'm learning from this Tai Chi methodology. Songbird, there's definitely the younger part of me relates a lot to her brashness and her. It's kind of like everything's a double-edged sword. Your greatest strength can also be your demise. It's your greatest weakness, and getting into that being really skilled or being really brilliant can be a dangerous, great power comes great responsibility. you can easily, go wayward with all of that. So it's a warning for sure. And I still she still is with me a lot. I think a lot about Songbird and understanding that and her warning to the world and myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention like all of those three are very powerful women, and I see you guys as a very powerful as well. So you definitely are a bit of your character.
Charmer.
Thank you.
You're a charmer. Thank you.
All right, let's go for the next one. How do you approach voicing characters in a video game compared to other mediums?
I'm not allowed to do Tai Chi on screen as a general rule. If I'm playing like a car crash victim and I'm lying there in pain, I can't also be going like this at the same time.
You're doing it internally, though.
Yeah, I'm doing it internally. How is it different to other roles, specifically for voiceover?
Yeah.
Sort of a bit like what we talked about earlier. You have to use your imagination a lot more. You can be much more vocally precise because you're only focusing on that part of your instrument. You often don't get to see the script ahead of hand, but you also don't have to learn the lines unless you're doing performance capture. So you can be much more in the moment, much freer, especially if they're going to put a microphone on your head as opposed to just in front of you where you have to stay on mic. Yeah.
I think in film and TV and theatre, there's also that aspect of really working with your scene partner, whoever else is in the scene with you, and really taking what your fellow actors give you and allowing that to affect you, and then it alters the way you deliver back to them. And in video games, you don't always have that opportunity. So in some ways, you have to sort of you have to play your role, but also anticipate how the other character is going to be played. So you're kind of multitasking a lot in game acting, I feel, filling in a lot of blanks that you don't normally have to fill in theater, film, and TV.
What she said. Well, I do a lot of commercial work, which is great, and I think that trained me to do a lot with very little. You have one tagline that you need to get 50 different meanings out of, and that helped a lot. But then now translating that to exactly what you're saying, to have a lot more components that are supposed to be impacting you, the space, the time, where it's going to land, where it's going to go, where you just came from, is a lot more to juggle. So it was like a fun challenge as an actor to just dive right in and try to figure out placement and where we are in the story, and to make sure that you're doing your part to keep the continuity. It was really challenging, but it was really fun to explore that and then see how many different variations you could come up with to still keep the truth of the character. And I was getting to know her as I was doing it, because she was a very confused actress, and I'm just keeping it real. I was like, what's happening? Yeah, so it was really fun to learn.
So we have no very serious question from Minji.
Oh.
What was it like to record emotional scenes, like those with V?
Well, first of all, if you're playing opposite of Jeremy Lee, like, come on, you are just given keys to the kingdom. She's so beautiful in her delivery. And at the time, I think with the emotional stuff I was able to hear her. And for me, I was sharing in my interview that I'm a really sensitive, I'm a huge crier, I'm a weeper. I have big feelings, and acting is like my huge place to just play and have fun and then let those big feelings out. So to me, I say I got to do emotional scenes. I think, again, commercial voiceover acting is very fun or professional, playful, casual, friendly. But you don't get to go deep that often. You don't get to become this a person with agony and despair and these really human things that we all go through. So to me, it was a really great release of like things that I got to channel a lot of things that I've gone through in my life to kind of, I don't know, like give to Songbird so that she could give that to the story and to the world. And I really enjoyed those scenes. And I felt really safe. And I was saying that I always thank Pierce. Pierce O'Toole was my main director, and he created such a safe space for me as an actor, because you are alone in a booth and you are, it's just you and a microphone and people watching you or listening for you to like do your line right so we can move along. So I had the pressure, but I also had a lot of freedom to just weep and be devastated and be in my most raw form, and then also carry on afterwards. And that's such a blessing because not every working environment's that safe. So I had a great time. I had a great time doing it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going back to some fun. Weirdest scene of all time you had to voice. This can be in any game. It doesn't have to be in Cyberpunk.
Oh, there's a story behind that.
No. I literally was just clearing my throat. I have to think about that.
As Dragon Age Inquisition BDSM sex scene between me and Freddie Prinze Jr., who was playing Iron Bull. Just another Tuesday. Just another Tuesday. It's easy.
Doing my job.
That was definitely, yeah. Anyone else?
Oh no, this is the only video game that I've done, so weirdest, I don't know. I have to think on that.
I don't know.
We can move on if you want.
The efforts for me were, well, not weirdest, but it was just new territory to do the efforts. Like I was I had no way to gauge if I was doing it correctly. And I felt very awkward doing it. Okay. It was like, is this reading well? Like, to me, it sounds very false. And again, I just don't want to be the weakest link in this or in any space. So that was awkward.
Yeah, they are really weird to do. The like what they call them, the barks and grunts and efforts of like hitting or being hit.
Yeah.
And that is a weird process to go through because usually they're quite violent. And then your director's explaining what's happening to you or what you're doing to somebody. And I remember being in a game, I think it was Gears of War, where they're like, okay, now you take the chainsaw and you're going to saw the person in half like this way. I'm like, okay, what would I sound like if I was to do that? I think it would be like this. And, you know, you have to sort of put yourself in an imaginative space in these sort of environments and try to assess what would you literally sound like doing that? And that is pretty weird. Yeah,
I was doing Amnesia Rebirth, and I was playing Tazzy, and it was her story. And at one point in the game, I have to give birth to like a sort of demon child. I was like, guys, it's just not going to work standing up. Fine, let's get down on the floor. And I'm not even joking, I got on the floor. They put the microphone. Oh, I am nothing if not committed. And we were recording outside in the old space. And, you know, going through this labor and different versions of the labor. And it was Damien was directing, Damien Goodwin, and he'd had 2 kids, so he was kind of talking about the levels and stuff. And at one point, it was so loud, the receptionist came in, they went, guys, no one else can fucking record anything because Alix is being so loud. Could you just... And I was like, no, I could not just, all right? It's childbirth, okay?
A demon childbirth.
A demon childbirth, no less. Wait, okay?
Doing
and
my
it's
job
not my
right now.
fault if your soundproof booths are not completely soundproof, okay?
Yeah.
So we go from, you know, Alix being like Tai Chi masters to Demon Birth.
On the floor. And actually, there was another one in Ghost Recon, just to add to my commitment, where the helicopter crashes and I land upside down out of the helicopter in a tree like this, and I'm dangling upside down. And I was like, okay, guys, give me a chair. And I leant all the way backwards over the chair like this, and I put the microphone there, and we did the grunts that way.
Because it does, it completely changes the physicality of
Thank
the
you,
sound.
someone who understands.
I love
Thank
that.
you.
Artistry.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. I'm learning.
I think we need to start writing the petitions to actually put cameras
in
your booths.
I mean,
honestly, it actually sounds very interesting because, you know, obviously, you all are actresses, right? So you also act with your body. And I believe, you know, if you have to voice a specific voice line in a game, you also need to work with your hands because sometimes you just need it. Like even in a conversation, you do stuff with your body.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously it helps, and it will be always so interesting to see.
I think I'm probably the exception as well, not the rule. I think I get away with a lot.
But I also think, so if we had exposure to your process, I think you would influence swaths of voice actors to have a little bit, I felt a little bit tethered to the microphone because I'm learning on the job, like every session, I'm like, am I gonna do this right? Am I doing it right? And one of the things I noticed that helped me with Songbird was I would always wear a baseball cap, and I didn't even notice that. I wear hats, but it's usually when I'm outside. But I think it helped me get into like a kind of mood or a character having the hat on while I was doing it.
Yeah.
Right, and kind of feeling a little bit secretive or giving me a vibe. But I did notice when I'm talking, it would hit the microphone. Like, damn it.
They loved that.
That was a really good take, and I completely ruined it because I just went dunk. And I was like, okay, I got to take off the hat. But it changes the mood. So.
It does change the mood.
Yeah, you have to learn. You have to work with all the different things that you had. And voice acting is very, like, total. I was learning that in terms of video games.
I agree with that. And I think really so many people, especially like fans or gamers, do not realize how physical, you know, from getting down on your back to give birth in the birthing position to, you know, arching over backwards because you're upside down in a helicopter chair in a tiny booth. But it is physical.
Did you feel really spent? I mean, you guys are playing really insane characters.
She took up kickboxing for Rogue.
Did you?
No, I didn't. I wish I did. No.
Sorry, I totally bought that.
Alex. Sorry.
But I agree. Like, voice work is very physical work. But I think that, like, it's interesting listening to you talk about that because you would have been on the floor giving birth, but your body has to be quite silent, right? So, because otherwise the microphone's going to pick up absolutely everything, including your baseball cap. And so that's a challenge too, like suggesting the physicality or the character or state of being without moving your body so much that the sounds of your body get involved. So it's a sort of distillation of physicality that also has to happen, which is kind of an interesting thing. Like, you know, when you were talking about Tai Chi and all that stuff, and I said, oh, you internalize it. But sometimes that's what you end up doing. You internalize maybe a physical gesture or you know, also if your character's on the move, you have to make your voice sound like you're walking and talking or walking and running. So that has to really be a part of it too. And we all have to figure out how to tell that story without, you know, running on the spot.
Absolutely. All right, so the next question. If you could play any other character from the game, who would it be? It can be from any game as well. It doesn't have to be Cyberpunk. I know mine, but I'm not a voice actress.
Would yours be?
I would love to voice Sylvanas.
Sylvanas. Who's
in Warcraft.
Ah, okay.
Well, like, you know, she has a already amazing voice, so that would be...
Well, that's not the question. So what would you play? I don't know. I'm just so unfamiliar with the world. I'm curious if I were to ask others who are a lot more aware of all the games that are out there and characters, I would want to genuinely know so I could research. That'd be really fun. If anyone has any recommendations.
I'd want to do, well, obviously British actress Lara Croft would be my pinnacle.
Sexy.
I mean, that would be like, kick it out the park. But it's something that I often think about was I was in Assassin's Creed Origins, and for various reasons, Aya's storyline wasn't what it should have been. I'd freaking love to go back and revisit her story and tell Aya's story, because she had so much to offer. She's the founder of the Creed, to fill you in. So she's literally the mother of the Creed that becomes Assassin's Creed, and she has a lot to tell, and she's lost her son, and she's grieving, and there's an incredible story with Bayek, who's played by my very good friend Abubakar Salim, and I would just love to go back and... You could almost do the whole game, I'm just thinking about this out loud, but you could actually almost do the whole game again, but you could tell it from Aya's point of view. Now, I was actually just thinking about it. She wouldn't even need a kind of separate game. It could just be her. So that would be a real passion project. If ever I got to do that, that would be really cool.
I don't have anything specific in mind, but I would love to play like a bunny rabbit or like, you know, because so many of the characters I play, they are a bit like Rogue. They're like super strong, kick-ass kind of gals, and there are times that I just like to play the little character that does, you know, that's really sweet and cuddly. So maybe something like that.
Do you know what I would love to do, just building on that? I'd freaking love to do a sort of Gollum character. So a full P-capped character in a film. That's what I want to manifest into existence. Like, yes, mistress, what else can I get you today?
Yeah.
You know, but like you do the whole thing. I'd be well into that.
Maybe we need to talk to Boris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
think
The
so.
Witcher.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Schedule
we
a
could be
meeting.
a creature on The Witcher. There you go. Solved it.
As a side project.
Yes.
I love that what you said about the bunny thing. I would want to do a really. I love that I got to do Songbird. I freaking love, and what a gift. And I would want to do something sillier, and like, is I'm a wacky person, mostly in private, but with trusted friends, and I have that side of me, and I would love to do maybe something. I haven't played it, but the Spider-Man game, like in that kind of universe where I get to just be really loud and rambunctious and exuberant and crazy. That'd be fun.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, because it's all there, isn't it? There's so many different types of games, so many genres in games, and just like an endless array of characters out there. And yeah, it's quite exciting.
It'd be quite cool to like be a mushroom in Mario Brothers or something.
Yeah.
So not Mario, not Luigi, not Prince, but like a mushroom or like a, I don't know what, like a star.
Yeah.
Yay, star!
Exactly.
You got one! Whee!
Here's the audition
go.
right now.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, just something wacky, you know? Like it sounds really, it sounds
Completely.
good.
Yeah.
See, I've yet to get there. I want to get a little bit more free because I think I get really. I'm still putting my foot in. But yes,
Your foot is well in.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. Yeah.
All right, and another one. Who's your favorite character in the game beside yourself? You know, we can mention here like a character you like. Maybe not like favorite, but you like around you in Cyberpunk.
I really liked Rogue and Songbird, actually. They were brilliant, I thought. I'd love to meet the actors who played that one day. That would be great. Oh, hi.
Hi.
God, I don't know. I always freeze with questions like this because there's so much to choose from. It's like whenever somebody says, "Where do you want to go for lunch in London?" I'm like, I can't think of a single solitary restaurant because there's so many of them. And this is the dilemma I have with questions like that. So I'm not sure. I don't know.
You can just say all of them.
All of them. All of them.
I will take that answer as well.
All right. All right, ladies. So that would be it from me. Now you will be joined by Alicia, and she has some more interesting questions for you guys. Hope you're ready.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Amelia. Now it's my turn, and I have a few more questions for our guests. So first question is actually to Minji. Would you like to remain in the video game field, or would you like to try something different?
Both yeses. I'm always expanding my opportunities as an actor, but totally in love with the video game world. It was so challenging and so fun. I would want to see how I can get better from everything I learned.
I mean, this person also added that never tired of your performance as Songbird. So I guess you're doing something right.
Thank you very much.
So the next one is actually for Jane. It's about another franchise. So what it is like being Agent 47 handler, and what your character Diana does on her day off.
What does she do on her day off? She probably, I think she probably smokes and secretly eats, and then exercises so that nobody knows. I think she drinks a lot of whiskey, and has a good old gossip with the gals. That's what I think she
Nice
does.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
You've done 3 of those, right?
Yeah, I
That's
have,
amazing.
yeah.
Hitman. Just so you know what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. It's quite fun, yeah.
Oh yeah. So how about Rogue? What would she do on her day off?
Probably much the same.
You have a type.
Maybe that's what I do on my day off. Maybe Rogue doesn't eat; she just smokes. No, I don't know. What does she do? Yeah, she. I think Rogue might have a bubble bath, and gets her nails done, like a just a pedicure, not a manicure, and has a facial.
Yeah. Okay, that's a nice spa day for Rogue.
Spa day for Rogue.
She can afford it. Okay, the next one is general. So, what did you feel when you actually saw your characters in game, like both visuals with your voice? What do you think of the result, and does it look and sound just like you expected?
I'm curious when your experiences seeing your characters. How soon was that?
when the trailer came out, I think
That was the first time
I think
you got to see
was in one of the trailers, or she's in as an AI at the end of the trailer for Cyberpunk 2077. And so when I heard my voice in the trailer, I was like, ah! And then when I saw her, I was like, ah!
So that was the first time you saw her?
Yes, in game. I don't think I saw an animation of her before.
Wow.
No, I tell a lie. I did. Oh, there's another sex story.
I sense
No
a theme.
No, sorry, but this is actually the truth. So this is, I bet this happened to you, Miss Giggles in the corner, okay? So we recorded the lines, all the lines. There are always pickups as you go into crunch time before a game is released. And they realized that some of the sex stuff that we'd recorded didn't match the physicalization of what they had captured in the mocap, right? So you got to go back in the studio. And that's when I saw it and I was like, wow, that's a lot of information. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? Because you have to, because the voice has to match with the physicality.
Yeah. So at that point,
Later.
you were like watching it and at the same time
Vocalizing it.
Vocalizing. Okay. How about you guys? Jane?
Well, it's interesting because I'm just trying to remember the audition for this, because frequently when you audition for a game, they give you the character bio, but also what's included in that is
a visual.
Is a visual. I'm just trying to remember. I feel like I was introduced to her visual aspect after I was well into recording. I think they then said, "Oh, and this is what she looked like." Anyway, I do remember thinking, "Wow, look at her!" Like, I feel quite sort of honored to be the voice of that person. Like, she's so interesting looking, and her face, her demeanor, her body, I think really tells in some ways the story of her life. Like, you can tell that she's had hardship, she's had a few hard knocks, and she's a striking looking character, but I feel like she also wears her life in her face and her body. So I was really taken by her.
That's nice.
She's
How about
amazing.
you, Minji?
I saw Songbird the first session that I recorded, and it was like a prototype or like an early stage video of her, like a tiny little clip. And my funny story behind that is that's when I realized what game I'm in, because the words, I'm sorry, but like truthfully, when they told me I was in Cyberpunk, I'd heard the name before, but I had no idea the grandiosity of it. I didn't know how big it was. But when I saw her and my little video was me touching Keanu's face, and I was like, that looks like Keanu Reeves, not knowing that was Keanu. Like, I was like being an idiot. And then Pierce was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, that's when all the implosions went off in my head of like, I'm in that game. Like, it was a triple, quadruple whammy of things besides seeing, wow, she's incredibly badass. Like, how am I gonna live up to that? Because that's how I felt. Because you can't rock a fuchsia bob like that. Like, you can't have that hair and that outfit and not be a complete total badass.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is gonna be work. But then on top of that, in this, simultaneously realizing what game and what world I just entered, it was like the coolest moment ever. And I was just very discombobulated. I was like, oh, okay, this is happening.
I mean, you have like similar experiences because all of your characters are really badass. So that's amazing. So another question, it's actually ties up with that nicely. Would you come back to replay this character if needed?
Yes,
Alix?
definitely, 100%.
Sign me up, yes.
Yeah.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Oh, that makes my heart melt. Thank you. Okay, another one. What's it like to be the best girl in the game? And this is to everyone.
So if you have one where you're with Rogue, one where you're with Songbird, one where you're with Alt. Yeah, what is it like to be the best girl in the game, guys?
Cool thing is, like, I wasn't familiar. So in preparation for meeting these two amazing women, I listened to their work, and I went on YouTube, and it was so impressive. So I gotta say, what does it feel like to be the best? It was so impressive. I'm genuinely so blown away by this world, not just Cyberpunk, but like in video game voice acting. There's just having done it now, I understand all the many things that any actor is juggling, and to execute it that precisely and then that it seems like very seamlessly and simply, and like it seems very effortless. So that's to me, I love art. I love acting. I love people who take their work very seriously and take themselves not so seriously so that they can be of service to the work. And I'm just tuning, because when I heard, it's like,
we keep
forever.
Everyone is part of the
to LA.
family.
Forever and ever. Yeah, and to everybody else that I heard in Cyberpunk. But that inspired me to, again, bring A game as much as I possibly could. I had to get out of my own head. I had to stop being so self-conscious and just be like, this is my version of Songbird. This is my version of her being devastated. And in that, like, she is a very tragic character.
Oh, yeah.
And I just embraced it. You know, I didn't try to make her more redeeming than she was. She's being awful and she's, you know, backs against the wall and she's making bad choices, you know. I know what that's like. So I embraced all of her, and that to me is why I fell in love with her. It actually like genuinely helped me deal with some internal stuff I had going on in my head. Like, yeah, we're all doing the best that we freaking can.
Yeah, of course.
And we make a lot of mistakes on the way.
And I think a lot of players can actually relate to that, so that's
Yeah.
another point.
That's so true, isn't it? Because the players really do spend a lot of time with these these characters. They really do get to know them inside and out. And I love the way you articulated how, you know, in many ways, life always has its challenges for all of us. But I think as actors, those challenges can be sort of transmuted into a kind of gift in a way, I think is the word that you used. And you use it to inform your character. And it's those difficult times are put to really good use. And I think that's a wonderful thing to be able to do, but also to experience as an audience member.
Yes,
you know?
we had this amazing letter from one of our fans. This person was actually relating very much to Johnny and V, like their situation, because they were dealing with like body dysmorphia, so they weren't feeling themselves in their body, and like the same with V and Johnny. So at first I wouldn't even think about taking this story and reading it this way, but for many people, it's what they needed actually.
Wow.
Do you know what's interesting? Because I think this game actually got a lot of people through COVID as well. Because I don't know if you got feedback about that, but so many people said, "Oh my God, like your character really helped me. She was so strong during this really challenging time that we were all going through." And its release in a way was, you know, right kind of at that time.
Yes, 2020.
Yeah, and I think it really rose to the challenge, you know, of all of that.
You can get lost in the world and not think about what's you know what worries you have on the outside.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe something more cheerful now. Let's see. Oh, okay. If you had to pick a cyberpunk character to romance, who would it be?
Alt.
Alt.
Who would it be? If I had to pick one to romance, who would it be? I don't know, but I think it's always interesting. What I always find fascinating when you're in a game is, you know, if it is a multiple choice game and you have several options and several endings, I'm always fascinated, not necessarily by who you romance or which your favorite romance is, but just how many different romances there are, how that can change your experience of the game, how it can sometimes, on some games, completely changes the ending. That blows my mind. Whoever comes out with that shit in writing is a genius. Because that's tricky to keep track of. You know, you've got like 4, 5, 6 different storylines and threads going on at once.
So maybe you know who's your type in cyberpunk.
Who's my type?
We're getting personal.
Okay. So maybe let's move on.
That's right. I need to research, is what I'm saying. I can't answer that accurately.
Minji's like, I just haven't chosen.
I haven't seen what's on the menu.
So you know, we have this test on our website. It's like for your best friend, but you know, you can take the test.
Right, yes.
Okay, so now actually we have another question to Minji about Songbird. If she is still out there, what do you think she is up to right now?
If she's still out there, I think claiming back whatever she feels like she lost as much as she can. I think she's also very she's a person that's or being or an entity or I don't know what would we call her. She's driven in the most human ways. So I think she'd still be driven by a lot of guilt, and a lot of pain would still like be within her. I don't think, you know, just because you physically leave a place that all of a sudden you're, unfortunately, our problems follow us. So I think there's going to be still a tortured element. So there's going to be a lot of having to try to figure that out within herself. And what that means in terms of what she does, I don't know. But I don't think she's like, it's not a, in Cyberpunk, there's no happily ever afters, unfortunately. But I do think there's, what I really appreciate and respect about this storyline is that it conveys a lot of determination, a lot of grit. And I value those things a lot. Life's not easy, but we can, you know, hold on to whatever hope that we can and learn from mistakes, hopefully, and then, you know, just keep going. So I think Songbird's definitely still out there fighting for her life. She's out there, and then she's also figuring out how to come to terms with everything she's done and where to
Just
go.
like all of us.
Yeah.
All right. So another one is, you know, cyberpunk. This is the dark future. The world, it's unforgiving. So what scares you the most in such a version of the future, of the dark future, Jane?
I don't know. I mean, the way the world is right now feels pretty dark, and these dystopian sort of universes that are created as a fiction sometimes start to feel really close to reality and what's going on right now. And
That's scary, right?
it is scary, yeah. And people's behavior, you know, and yeah, I'd like to think that way of being in the world is relegated to the realms of fiction, but really, indeed, it is not. And I do find that quite concerning, obviously. Yeah.
How about you, ladies?
Well, I was just thinking about, two things. I was thinking about how there's a publication called the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, and it was founded by Albert Einstein after World War II and consulted on by Oppenheimer, who very famously develops a nuclear bomb. And the doomsday clock is now 90 seconds to midnight. So we are the closest that we have ever been in human history since the founding of this publication in 1947, 2 years after the end of World War II. We are the closest that minute hand has been to midnight. And the theory is that when it hits midnight, there will be another major man-made catastrophe, such as the dropping of another atomic bomb or another Holocaust or something like that. So it is really scary because humans learn, but we also don't learn quickly enough.
Forget.
We forget, yeah. And, you know, there's a very famous quote, which is, the moral arc of the universe is long, but in the end it bends towards justice. And I do believe that in the end, the moral arc of the universe does bend towards justice. But wow, it takes a long time sometimes, and a lot of people get hurt. And, you know, you can't help but feel empathy and sympathy for those that suffer greatly in our world. And then the other thing I was thinking was that, you know, 2077 is 50 plus years away, 53 years away. What is the world going to look like
It's not
then?
that far.
It's not that far. We will all still be alive, God willing. You know?
But it's conceivable to think that things will be extremely different. Like, things are moving so quickly with
flying cars and things like that.
technology, artificial intelligence, and all these different impacts, and then the climate and how these things will impact, you know, who we are and how we live our lives and where we live our lives. And yeah, it's going to be, I think there's interesting times ahead, you know.
Hopefully the good ones.
Yes, that,
Any thoughts, Minji?
Can you rephrase the question? Or not rephrase,
Yeah, it was
remind me the question.
basically dark future. What scares you the most about it, as it's portrayed in cyberpunk, or maybe in ours?
Yeah, the themes, definitely kind of the unpredictability of technology. I grew up in close proximity to the birthplace of a lot of technologies that run our world now, and have voiced commercials for some of them. I'm like, is that what I want to have done? Anyway, because when you're trying to solve one problem, sometimes you solve it and you create 50 more problems, and that's the human nature. And I think there's a lot of danger that we're seeing very clearly in mass a lot more quickly about the power of a few people holding all the power. In that's what drives me nuts, is that I didn't sign up for this. I didn't vote for this. I didn't sanction any of this. You're using my tax. That's how expensive the world is. Like, it's all these like different ripple effects of exhaustion and feeling hopeless and feeling like you have absolutely no control, no power, no say in the quality of your life, the trajectory of your life. And that, I think, I actually wonder how much people we don't forget, but we're just tired. And that feeling of like, I cannot do anything about any of this madness going on around me is a very dangerous place to be. It's valid. I don't think anybody's crazy or being defeatist because they feel that way. It's completely understandable. And I think if you weren't feeling that way, it's like, what are you drinking? Like, what are you, can I get some? But that's where I think having these conversations, you know, I don't want to be doomsday about it. The way I approach things in things that I'm scared about, I acknowledge very much, I am terrified of this. And then that's where courage comes into play, being brave and having the wherewithal to kind of keep moving forward, even in light of complete and utter terror and fear. That's what I really want to feed into. I believe in humanity. I believe that we have the desire to like just want to be happy and have peace. And we have to fight for it sometimes. And sometimes that fight is like just getting up every day and being kind to the person directly next to you. You don't have to go and change the entire world, but the impact that you can have just being kind and not being an asshole to the people, you know, the 1 to 10 people you interact with that day, or if we're on a platform, maybe more than that, you know, that does have a ripple effect. So I think in light of all the craziness we're dealing with, I think it benefits all of us to be even that much more conscious and gentle, and because it will take every single last tiny bit of energy we have left. I do think it will require that, but I'm also leaning on the justice, on the hope that we'll pull through somehow.
Thank you, Minji. That's a beautiful message.
That was good. I think you should run for president. There you are.
It's hard, we can do it.
To lighten the mood, do you have any lines from the game, from your voice acting that really stuck with you?
You're not a rocker, boy, Johnny.
Listen to that. That just sent a little shiver down my spine.
Something like that. Something like that.
Wow.
Awesome. I felt like Alt was just here.
Yes, she was. Wow.
How about you, ladies?
I remember saying something about don't come back in a garbage bag of smithereens or something like that. I was like, that's so rogue, you know? Like just, to the point. Yeah.
I think the line that the scene that stuck the most with me is when I thank V for knowing that I wasn't alone for just a moment. That scene like broke my heart, but the one that I still, is it in the trailer? But it's just, I've done terrible things. I've made so many mistakes.
I think it is in the trailer. I seem to remember it from the trailer.
I think, and that was when I first heard and saw my character together was a trailer, and it like melted my brain.
It must be amazing seeing yourself in a trailer.
It felt so surreal. I was just like, that's not me, but it is me. And it was just the sound. Everybody, CDPR, good job. But yeah, that line, I think, just that full admission of I've messed up so much, and that stuck. Oh, sorry, microphone.
It's quite nice pics, ladies. All right, so this is all the questions that we received. They were funny. They went into a little darker turn at times. But thank you so much for joining me, Alix, Minji, Jane. It was amazing to have you, and hopefully we can meet again. So thanks to our community, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.